Welcome to another video. This video is titled, The Best Way to Create Your Impact is by Listening to Your Inner Guidance. And this is a topic that I was given today to speak on by my spirit guides. So if this is your first time tuning into one of my videos and you don't know who I am, my name is Stef. I'm a psychic soul alignment coach. I work with spiritual entrepreneurs to help them to do very deep levels of healing to really align themselves powerfully with their souls so that they're then able to have their greatest level of impact, influence, and income. That is how I help people. And this video teaching that you're watching today is actually from my private Facebook community. It's a free community that you can request to join. If you're watching on YouTube, the link will be in the description of this video for you to request to join us. And so long as you have a legit looking profile, I will more than likely accept your request. If I don't accept your request, it's because you had a sketchy looking profile. So you can still message me and let me know you're from YouTube and I will accept you then. But I do try to maintain a certain level of energy and integrity in that group. And that's why I'm very selective about the people that I add to the community. I don't know why I can't talk today. It's something happening right now. I don't know why. This topic that I got asked to speak on today was from my guides. And so basically they wanted me to talk about this. And there's actually a checklist that you can, not a checklist, but a playlist that you can listen to if you're watching on YouTube that details how you can make an impact as a spiritual entrepreneur. So you can go check that out and binge watch all of those videos to learn how to really become a powerful, successful spiritual entrepreneur. But this is one of the topics that they wanted me to speak on. And that is because, you know, if you really want to make a powerful impact with whatever you feel called to bring forward to the world, then you need to really tune into your inner guidance. And your inner guidance is more than likely coming from your soul or your higher self. That's because your inner guidance in the form of your soul or your higher self is trying to lead you down the path that will allow for you to bring about this impact that you desire to create. And that's because, you know, these spiritual aspects of you, they can see the bigger picture. They can see how things are meant to be playing out for you. And so as a human being, you only have, you know, like a ground level type of view of how to go about creating your impact. And you can't really see how things are going to come together and when and all the different details. Like, you can't really see all of that. But when you lean into your inner guidance, the spiritual version of yourself that's like at a higher vantage point, that version of yourself can see how it's all meant to come together. And so because this higher version of yourself, the spiritual version of yourself, can see how it's going to come together, that version of yourself knows the path that you aren't needing to take for your highest good and the path that is of the least resistance for you to get from where you're at to where you want to be in terms of creating your impact. And so this is why it's really important for you to allow yourself to be led by your inner guidance as you're moving forward in stepping into your purpose and creating your impact, because your inner guidance coming from your soul or your higher self can see the bigger picture, can see where you need to go, what the next step is for you to take, and so on, to get you there much more quickly and with a lot less detours than necessary, okay? Now, what happens is that a lot of times what keeps us from really leaning into our inner guidance is the fact that our inner guidance is clouded by judgments that we have, by fears, by worries, by insecurities, by a lot of limiting beliefs. And so all of this stuff kind of jumbles up the energy and doesn't really allow for us to really tune into that inner guidance, because that inner guidance is a very subtle, soft voice. Spirit isn't like really loud or anything like that. That's usually ego. That's like really loud and filling you with negativity and fears and all the reasons for why you can't do something. That's your ego. But spirit is a quieter voice. And so when you have still a lot of fears and judgments and limiting beliefs and insecurities and things like that, that clouds you from really being able to discern if spirit is talking to you or not, or from even hearing it, from even hearing that inner guidance. And so this is kind of stuff that I've been talking a lot on recently to the people who downloaded my Soul Aligned Impact Checklist. So if you don't know what that is, that's basically a checklist which contains the top 10 pillars you need to have in place in order to create a very successful soul aligned business. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the link to that checklist will be in the description below. But in that checklist, I discuss via emails that follow the checklist. I talk about how it's really important for you guys to lean into your inner guidance, because that is going to really help you to be able to achieve this impact that you feel called to make. Okay, if you downloaded my checklist, I give you a specific example of my own life and how this was proven true for me, so that you guys can see that. But for example, let's say that you feel called to help people right now with taking care of their homes. Maybe you want to help make people's homes better, help them clean their homes, help them to change it in some kind of way because you like doing those things. Maybe you like doing those things, maybe you enjoy doing those things, you enjoy using your creativity. However, just because you like doing something, or just because you're good at something, or just because you have an idea for something doesn't necessarily mean that that's the thing that you're meant to be focusing your energy and attention on to help you bring about your impact. And so when you're able to then get all of your own stuff out of the way, your own judgments, your own ideas and filters and perceptions and things like that, when you're able to get that out of the way and lean into your inner guidance more, then you can tune into that information that will allow for you to really be focusing on and taking action on the things that are actually going to allow you to have that bigger impact or create that impact. Does that make sense? So maybe initially right now, I like helping people to fix up their homes and make their homes nice and so on, and I'm really good at this and I am creative and this and that. However, if that's not the path that you're meant to be taking at this time, then and you continue to pursue that instead because you're not really listening to your inner guidance, then you're just going to take yourself on this kind of detour and take a longer route to actually moving in the direction of fulfilling your impact. Whereas if you were to take a step back and be like, okay, cool, I recognize that I'm creative in this regard, I'm passionate about this, I'm really good at this, but is this really what I'm meant to be doing right now? And you tune into that inner guidance to see how that sits with you, how that feels to you, and you really notice for yourself, no, actually, that's not really what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Then you can more quickly put yourself on the path that you're needing to go down to help you fulfill your purpose and create your impact. Does this make sense? Let me know if it makes sense, because I want to hear from you guys and make sure that this is very clear for you guys. So your inner guidance is the best way for you to create your impact because it comes from your higher self. It comes from your soul. It comes from this higher aspect of you that knows the most direct path and the path with the least amount of detours or challenges for you to fulfill your purpose and create your impact. And that's why it's really important for you to lean into that inner guidance instead of what maybe your human ego feels that is the best thing for you or not the best thing for you, instead of what your mind thinks is the best thing for you or is not the best thing for you, okay? Now, as a spiritual entrepreneur especially, it's more important than ever for you to lean into your inner guidance. And the reason for that is that you must get into the habit of leaning into your inner guidance and practicing leaning into it and trusting it and taking action on what your inner guidance is telling you. Because as a spiritual entrepreneur, that inner guidance comes from spirit, comes from source, comes from a higher power, okay? This divine spiritual power, okay? And the divine spiritual power knows what is in the highest good of all and knows what you need to be doing to do your part to fulfill the highest good of all. And so you, especially as a spiritual entrepreneur, need to be leaning into that inner guidance that comes from this divine place and to allow yourself to take action on that, because that's what's actually going to allow for you to continuously do the things that you're actually meant to be doing again and again, that are actually going to give you results in the end, that are actually going to allow you to see growth and progress and impact as you move forward, okay? Because your success and your impact literally depend on you being in tune with this divine inner guidance. If you stray away from that as a spiritual entrepreneur, right? You're here to do powerful spiritual related things, working with source, working with the universe, with God. You have to allow yourself to be led by that energy, by that divine plan, because as you do this, you're going to be able to move forward and grow and have the success and have this impact. But if you kind of diverge from that and you decide to go off and do what you think is a good idea, what you think will get you results, whatever else, you do, or maybe you're afraid, you're fearful, and you resist the inner guidance for whatever reason, and you do this instead, and you keep going down that path, then again, that's going to that's going to cause you to take detours, to take a longer route, to not see the success that you want, to not create the impact that you desire. You're going to go down this path until you finally, make a U-turn and finally come back on this path, right? So as a spiritual entrepreneur, it's super important for you to really allow yourself to be led by your inner guidance, because that's your direct connection to spirit, which is leading you down the path of your greatest success and impact and fulfillment. Okay. Now, how you strengthen your connection, or your connection, your ability to hear your inner guidance, is by practicing this. It's by you practicing quieting your ego, silencing those negative thoughts or beliefs or things, tuning into your inner guidance or your heart space, or however you feel called to connect with yourself internally, but tuning into that. And then whatever you get, whatever you feel is right for you, whatever you hear is right for you, whatever you sense is right for you, you tuning into that and allowing yourself to be led by that, and trusting in that and taking action on that again and again and again, instead of allowing your ego to convince you that you're making things up, that maybe it's unsafe for you to move in that direction, that maybe you're going to make a mistake, and all the different reasons. Like, anytime there's something that puts fear in you, that's not inner guidance. That is just your ego. And so even when your inner guidance sometimes will pull you in the direction of something that is unknown or scary or out of your comfort zone, it doesn't put fear in your heart. Like, you don't feel fear. When it comes from spirit, when it's true divine guidance, even if it's something that would normally scare you, it doesn't scare you, because you have this deeper connection in that moment, that knowing that this is the next step for you. And you just know that. There have been plenty of instances in my journey that I've shared throughout many videos in my many years as a spiritual entrepreneur, where I've done things that, I felt called to do, that were out of my comfort zone, that did scare me. But in the moment that I received the guidance, or I just felt like that was the next step for me, I just knew, like, this feels right. This is just what it is, and afterwards I deal with all of the human things, the fears, limiting beliefs, insecurities. I deal with them and I address them. But in that moment, like, I know this is it, and I don't allow my ego to convince me otherwise, and I move in that direction. So, as a spiritual entrepreneur, or just a person wanting to develop their connection to their inner guidance, you need to practice this. This is something you develop. This is something that you build a relationship with. Even if you feel like you're not really good at trusting yourself, like, believe me, I had major issues with trusting myself, but I've been very diligent over the last few years of practicing developing that trust again and again in so many different ways. And the more that I practice it, the stronger it got, the stronger that connection got, that feeling, that knowing got. And it's easier to tune into that, but you have to start practicing. And so how you do this is, again, calming yourself down, tuning into your heart space or your inner guidance, or calling in certain energies, God, spirit, your higher self, whoever you resonate with, and asking for support from that space, and tuning in and seeing what you get. And then whatever you feel is coming through, go and take action on that. Do not delay. Allow yourself to be led in that direction, because that is how you allow yourself to build that relationship, that connection, that trust. When you take action on those things and you see them working out, that's what allows you to trust a little more the next time, and the next time, and the next time. And this is how it gradually builds up and allows for you to have that much stronger connection. And so, but the way to start building that is you first tuning in, hearing, taking action on that, and then allowing it to unfold again and again and again. And so as you do this, it's super important, especially as a spiritual entrepreneur, because when you are a spiritual entrepreneur and you're working with spirit, you're working with non-physical energy. You're working with energy that can't be seen, and that a lot of times there's like no rational explanation behind it. There's no tangible thing to prove it in the moment usually. But when you have that inner guidance leading you, you just know, and knowing is enough, or you just feel, or you just sense it, and that's enough. And you just allow yourself to be led in this direction. When you have developed this inner guidance, this connection so strongly, then you still get to move forward in the direction that you feel called to move forward in, and you don't allow anyone else or anything else to. You have that deeper connection, and you move confidently and powerfully in the direction that you're feeling called to move in. And that's what's going to allow for you to have the greatest level of success and impact that you have the potential for. Because when you lean into that inner guidance, you're not waiting for external things to prove to you it's safe for you to move forward, or you're not waiting for external things to prove to you that you're going to succeed. You're not waiting for someone to come and tell you it's safe to move forward. You develop that inner knowing, and then you move forward from that space, and that allows you to really move down the path that you're being called to move down, so that you can have the greatest level of success. Okay, because what happens is that our logical minds can't see how things are going to work out, or can't know how things are going to work out sometimes. It doesn't know the path, but that inner guidance is going to lead you down the path, even if you can't see it. And so what I'm getting an image of right now is of a bat, and bats fly in the darkness, and how they get around the darkness is through echolocation, right? They send out a little sound, and that little sound helps them navigate the darkness and helps them to get to where they need to get to for food, or avoid getting hurt as they're flying. And so that's what it is that inner guidance is going to help you to navigate the unknown, the darkness, whatever it is that shows up for you. And you have to learn to practice listening to that. That is your higher self saying, hey, here you are. Here's your impact. It's, from where you are to your impact, it's the unknown. It's new. You don't know the steps, but listen to me. I'm going to guide you. And it's kind of like you're being blindfolded, and someone is telling you, hey, take a step right, take a step forward, keep going, for this many steps in this direction. And you, with the blindfolds, you just have to again and again and again, that you will eventually get to where you're needing to get to, safe and sound, and it's all good. But you have to allow yourself to be led by spirit in this way, and not allow your logical mind to interfere, because again, the logical mind will quite often try to convince you can't do something, it's not the time, or you should do it another way instead. And it'll take you on these detours, it'll take you along these bumps, and you have to understand that your higher self, your soul, spirit, is trying to avoid taking as many bumps as possible, or detours as possible, and is trying to get you there much more quickly. But you need to really lean into that and trust that. And that's why leaning into your inner guidance is super important, because it really does allow for you to make your impact and move in the direction of making your impact so much more quickly. And so it's really important for spiritual entrepreneurs, for everyone in general, to get out of their heads and to really get into their hearts and lean into their hearts, because this is your connection to your inner guidance. It's your guiding compass. It's going to lead you through all of this. And the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, who aren't even really so much in the spiritual kind of path, in my way of being on the spiritual path, a lot of people who are like in deeply corporate type of settings, a lot of them are super successful because they trust their intuition. They call it their gut feeling, their gut guidance, their gut knowing. They have a different name for it, but it's all one and the same. Is they allow themselves to be led by what feels right, what feels like a good idea, like a good investment, like the right path for them. And so these are the most successful entrepreneurs, is they've learned how to tap into and be guided by their intuition or their inner guidance, and to take action on that. So that's why they are able to have high levels of success when it comes to like stock type of investments, or building certain companies, is because that inner guidance leads them down the path. And so if the most successful people in the world are achieving massive levels of success and influence because of this, because they're allowing themselves their inner guidance, then this just is further proof that, if it's so valuable for people who are like non-spiritual, in the sense of like the spiritual, new age spiritual community, if it's so valuable to them to lean into that and to be guided by that and to see amazing results in their lives and businesses from that, it's even more important and significant for those of us on this path, because that is literally our path and what we need to practice day in and day out, leaning into and allowing to form part of our lives. So what to sum up here is that when you don't do inner work, so you don't do the less necessary levels of healing work, of shifting your beliefs, or of anything else that you might need to do to let go of the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, the things, when you don't clear those things up, it's going to be challenging for you, because it's literally like the static that you sometimes hear when you're trying to tune into a different radio station, and you can kind of hear the radio station, you can kind of hear the music, but the static overwhelms the what's coming through the speakers so much, and so you can't really hear that music so clearly. So that is what the fear, the limiting beliefs, the doubts, the worries, the things, that is what it is it's static, and it doesn't allow you to hear that subtle soft voice that comes from your inner guidance. It's really important for you to be very proactive in doing this necessary inner work to release those things, so that that inner guidance can be heard much more clearly by you, and you can actually receive then the action steps you need to take to move forward in the direction of your highest good, of stepping into your purpose, of creating your impact. Okay, because otherwise you're going to unintentionally allow yourself to continue to be led by ego, by all of that ego-filled, fearful type of stuff. Now, again, when you don't lean into your inner guidance, you never get to develop it. You never get to strengthen it, and you never get to really create a connection that will allow for you to make life so much easier and creating a successful business so much easier. So if you want to flow in life much more easily, because I know, especially when it comes to the spiritual community, the spiritual entrepreneur, all this talk about flowing and effortless flow with, in business and that kind of stuff. But one of the ways that you achieve this flow is through you listening to your inner guidance, because again, your inner guidance is trying to lead you down the path that has the least amount of resistance, the least amounts of like detours or obstacles for you. It's trying to get you there. The action steps that your inner guidance asks you to do don't make sense. They don't seem like they're going to work out, or it just doesn't seem like the rational path to take in order to bring about certain results. But you have to lean into that and allow yourself to be guided. The more you strengthen that, and then you're going to allow yourself to flow with life so much more easily and to more effortlessly create your success and your impact in your business, change lives. So let me know how this video teaching resonated with you today. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, a like wherever you're watching from. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you get more of these teachings. Come and join my Facebook community. Link is in the description of this video. And just wherever you're watching from, let me know if you have any questions around tuning into your inner guidance. Your inner guidance. Do you have challenges with them, with it? What are those challenges for you? What does hold you back from trusting yourself? Like these kinds of things, I would love for you to share with me if it feels good to you to do so, because then I can potentially create content around that to help you, to answer specific questions that might support you, or maybe to do like a whole full-length type of video in that to help you to start leaning into your inner guidance much more powerfully moving forward, because this is a really important thing for us to do, especially as spiritual beings or people on the spiritual path. It's really important for us to develop this deeper connection to this inner spiritual version of ourselves, and to who we truly are by trusting ourselves again and again and again through listening to our inner guidance, receiving it, taking action on it, and allowing it to unfold in the way in which it needs to for our highest good. So if you have not yet downloaded my checklist, my Soul Aligned Impact Checklist, I highly recommend that you do so. If you're watching on YouTube, the link to my checklist will be in the description of this video. But my Soul Aligned Impact Checklist is my checklist that contains 10 pillars to creating a successful spiritual business, a soul-aligned business. And basically, if you're a spiritual entrepreneur, it's really important for you to have these pillars in place to really have success with your business and create your impact. So you can sign that up for that checklist in the description of this video. Emails to really help you understand what a soul-aligned business really is, and how you can tell whether or not you have this in place, what mistakes you might be making, speak on in regards to the pillars on that checklist. And if you're really ready to go ahead and create a powerful impact in 2020, you're ready to be the highest version of yourself, to really show up as a powerful leader, to really touch lives in the way in which you've been feeling called to touch lives, for maybe a really long time, and really helping people out in a very deep way, then I invite you to come and join me in Soul Aligned Impact. And this is an 8-week program where I'm going to work with you over these 8 weeks to really help you to drop a lot of egoic things that keep you from being soul aligned, and keep you from really creating your impact. And so over these 8 weeks, we're going to be clearing out a lot of limiting beliefs and fears and stories, and really bringing to your awareness how you have been unintentionally allowing yourself to be guided by ego and your insecurities and your fears and other egoic things, and really helping you to peel all of that back and really be able to more powerfully connect with your soul, so that you're able to then be in much greater alignment to then hear that subtle voice from your soul, to really listen to that inner guidance, that intuition. Allow yourself to be led to taking the action steps that you feel called to take, to really being able to put into place the marketing strategies that your soul wants you to put into place, to really being able to create the offers that your soul wants you to create and offer at this time, so that you can have the greatest level of success, because you're doing things from a place that's truly in alignment with spirit, that is truly in alignment with the highest good of all. And so by working in this way, you're able to then have the greatest level of success in your business. And I'm going to be teaching you how to manifest as well in that program as a soul aligned spiritual entrepreneur, which is a little bit different than regular manifestation in my experience. So if that interests you, reach out to me for more info. There are flexible payment plans, and that's basically it. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. I really hope that this has helped you, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.